rules. I mean, we don't need, like, this is, it doesn't need to have any ego attached to this. This is, it's a simple evaluation of words on a page. That's all. We don't need to get emotionally attached to this. We don't need to get upset about this. Just look at what's being said and see whether it's true or not. I don't think it's that complicated, is it? Jeez.
Back the underlying falsehood that he was operating off of, that he was so confidently talking about,
Underlying falsehood
that has now been seen by hundreds of thousands of people. Now, the reason why we can't have a fucking conversation, even though I added him directly, is because he doesn't want to have the conversation. It's not me.
Let me just get this off my chest. This is the reason why Asman doesn't want to have a conversation. On their last one, Hassan said this.
People, by the way, Iran is actually weirdly very pro-trans, but I'm sure that you probably didn't know that. They're very homophobic, but they are very pro-trans. A lot of cultures are actually very pro-trans, way more than the United States of America.
The very next day after Asman was banned, Hassan was belly laughing about it. Why? Because Iran actually forcefully pushes people to sex change when they are lesbian or gay as a mean to avoid persecution.
I like that they're mad that Iran is woke on trans.
Yeah,
too woke.
Yeah, way too woke.
A little too woke. They went overboard.
Way too woke.
Iran is the left went so far. Maybe they went out of control a little bit.
It's like they're doing what people said like Biden would do.
They're doing I said it on that conversation. I said they're doing Kamala Harris. They're doing transgender surgeries on inmates.
I'm a propagandist.
Well, no.
For the record.
No, I'm not calling
I'm
you
a
that. I'm just saying. I'm going to play you.
I'm saying I am.
Okay, well then,
I'm saying I am.
I just
before
want to put
you
it.
even play it.
I have not only a genuine, firmly held ideological conviction here, but I also understand the pre-existing rules set in place better than Asmongold does. It's okay. It's all right to not know everything, and I certainly don't know all of the confines of I don't know everything about the fucking immigration law either. It seems like I know a little bit more than he does, or at least know how to correctly read and interpret the things that are in front of me.
Yeah. Let's see if there's any more of these. I think there could be a little bit more. I don't know.
Terrorist simps are out of control by Asmongold 6 hours ago. Talking about
this is the video I did. He's not happy about this. Terrorist simps are out of control, which, by the way, is true. Absolutely, completely out of control. Completely misrepresenting Palestine. Totally hurting the cause. Like, massively detrimental.
Mahmoud Khalil, by the way, Mr. Free Speech Defender.
Again.
When boobs are
Pick your hero.
Boobs get
Or villain.
pixelated,
I'm
or
not
boobs
judging.
are like a little bit
I will
smaller in a
bring
fucking
peace
video
to this
game.
universe,
That's the worst
no
thing that's
matter
ever
the
happened to
cost.
free speech. That's the grossest
True. Yeah, sure. So you guys can see where I'm coming from, right? With like not wanting to engage with this. Why would I engage with it?
free speech crime that Sony could commit on Stellar Blade. God forbid,
I
when the
remember this.
American state actually fucking puts down the hammer
Yes.
and decides, we don't like what you have to say, you're gonna get deported. Then he goes, terrorist simps.
We don't like what you have to say. Well, I mean, I would say that's a little bit of a, kind of brushing it a little bit under the rug there.
Perfection is unattainable. But that should not stop us from trying to achieve it.
As I was saying, pro-Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil
30 seconds before
was
you attack.
black-bagged
Get
from
ready.
his Columbia University.
Black-bagged. This is like a term for what Stalin would do with it. It's, again, the emotional escalation. It's unbelievable.
University campus apartment
I couldn't even trust
by
you
the
to write an
Department of
accurate
Homeland
news
Security
story,
by
Eddie.
ICE agents.
What's changed?
And expeditiously shipped off to Louisiana. Today, in New York, a New York judge oversaw whether or not that was appropriate.
battle starts in
Okay?
5,
And it's not appropriate.
4,
We learned
3,
that the Department of Homeland
2,
Security actually
1.
openly stated that there was
All you
no
need to do is capture the
illegal
mission
reasons
area.
as to- there
Got
was no
it?
law that was violated for Mahmoud Khalil's
Which was has nothing to do with it at all. This is a total red herring. It never had anything to do with a law being broken or not. Maybe you could make that argument, but that's not the argument being made. That's it. It was never the point. And so this is, again, it's capitalizing on a lack of understanding or the fact is that if you're a green card holder, there are certain things that you still can't do. For example, 2 of them are you can't vote, and you also can't support a terrorist organization. You can't So it's not the exact same thing as being a citizen. They'd be able to
Mission area is yours.
process started. And then it was was specifically because they didn't like what he was saying.
They didn't like what he was saying.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, that's. Now, what was he saying? I wonder, right?
I don't even know
Leave
what
her
to
alone
say.
again.
Yeah,
That's for the best.
this is crazy. They just didn't like what he had to say. Yeah, I wonder why. And so, and this is the end of 30 minutes. I don't understand why this is happening. It's kind of odd for me to see it, but
And yes, in terms of Mudahar, he's
I have found more Mudahar.
What's this? First, because I used to talk to him all the time. I used to get help from him on like Steam related stuff. And then he started orbiting Destiny around the same time that Destiny was Cosmos heals. And he was quiet on this issue. You know, he had more tweets about this. Not sure what he meant by your time.
I feel better already.
You are not
Let me guess. You've captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going.
like Hassan isn't pro free speech because
Control
there's
lost.
like Aiden Ross back on the platform. It's just it's obvious misrepresentation.
Born again!
Need more shield. Shields up.
This is again more emotional manipulation. Again, oh well, this is about like all the babies getting killed. So now my opinion is right. It's emotional manipulation. The king of the seas.
It's mighty time! Behold, that child!
you know, watch it, make some, but take it very
Much better.
We're in this
He
together.
takes a moderate position because he doesn't feel like he's particularly informed about it, and he says this
Your
is
team's
probably.
capture progress past the
I
halfway
feel like
point.
you can't let people that are like, if you want to push everybody to
Mine's in
extremism,
place.
you will, but it'll be to the other side.
Shadow Spider, double kill!
because
Control
everyone's gonna
C!
eat his ass alive. All he does is go
Need to
after
control
people
loss.
who do demonstrate the courage to talk about these issues.
Having the courage to talk about the issue doesn't mean that you have to support terrorists. There are plenty of people to talk about the issue without supporting terrorists or playing terrorist propaganda. Is the only way to help the Palestinians to play terrorist propaganda? How does this even make sense? Anyway, here's another one. And this is what he said about it. Muda in the particular case, because he's in the same case as the victim of the same rifle.
Against the world! Need more shield. Single one gun! Shields up!
Say that Mudahar should be ideologically aligned with Hassan because of his skin color or his ethnicity. That's effectively what he's saying. He's saying that, well, you should be on my side because of your culture and this culture should be on our side. I don't think this is a good way of looking at it. Mudahar, he might be an Indian, but I think he's from India. I'm not even really sure where Mudahar is from. I think it's India. Either way, he's Canadian. Sorry, future American. He's also
Destiny
a Canadian, born here in
awaits.
Canada. He doesn't live in India, as far as I know. Yeah, he's not an he's not an American yet.
Having said that, part of the reason why he came back was to unironically play the role of one of the good ones. Crazy.
So insinuating that Mudahar is now Uncle
You'll
Tom
have to keep fighting until you're a winner.
saying
I am ready to put on a show!
Born again!
I don't know about that. I mean, I don't think that's I really don't. I don't think so. I never let things turn personal. I don't let things turn personal. I don't need them to be personal. This is a disagreement. And if people want to make it personal, that's their own issue. But this is just simply a disagreement that I have. And these are the reasons why I think it's bad. That's it.
About it. Like
Except
he
when
will
wipes are red. Yeah.
He will say, I don't have a political opinion, but then also turn around and demonstrate a political opinion. A political opinion that, of course, is trying to.
I think that
Perfection is unattainable, but that should not stop us from trying to achieve it.
On Twitch Wow, by the way, it was against the U.S. You know, little fine print there. This is not a political opinion. This is common sense.
Position himself as like a centrist person.
30 seconds before
as
you
a
attack.
centrist
Get
person,
ready.
angling it from the perspective of drama. To which he also responded, by the way, in your video on
glad
Gaza.
to
He
have
said, yes, I
another
do admit
genius
to not
around to
being
help
an expert on the
himself this
topic.
time.
Didn't cover it as drama since it isn't one serious situation with dead people and attacks happening every day. I just don't
I'll be sure
downplay
to
rates
tell
and
him
sugarcoat violent
exactly what you
organizations like
said.
you. Also, please defend
There's no way I can do this without
What's
him.
interesting about that response is it basically demonstrates the exact thing
The
that I'm
battle
talking
starts
about.
in 5,
It also is a
4,
lot. He did cover it
3,
as simply drama
2,
because I
1.
responded back to him.
Well, he covered
All
it
you
as
need to do
drama
is capture the
because it
mission
was
area.
regarding-
Got it?
So there's two separate things.
You think you can
And
harm
these are
me?
like
Y'all are gonna be
concentric
so sad they
circles.
missed
So
this.
there's like the Israel-Palestine conflict, and then there's the way that it's being approached on Twitch. So he covers this inner circle of it, but it doesn't mean he's covering the greater issue, even though the greater issue is the
Poor
issue.
creatures.
That's the difference.
Cosmos
And I think it's very important because if Mudahar had covered Israel-Palestine as like a
Distraction
you
now.
know, like whatever, right? Then I would have said that was disrespectful. I would agree with you. I just don't think that's what he was. I don't think that's what he intended on doing. I know Mudahar. I've spoken to him multiple times. Now, I don't know him well. I would say like acquaintance so far, but I like the guy. And it's conflicting. Yeah, exactly. The things that were being said better already. In some cases, pure cosmic energy. These two things are it's like two separate. The cosmos heals you. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Good fight.
No worries. I've got your back.
A year into a
That's what
genocide
happens when
here.
you
This was
threaten
your
my
only
brother.
This is again.
They're ahead of us.
This is again.
Healing power. You made me do this.
It's just to claim the moral high ground. It's to claim the moral high ground.
rises from beneath the waves.
Go on the topic. It downplayed and
Anyone
ran
willing to
defense for
help?
Adam's case, while the bulk of your commentary revolved around how evil the pro-Palestinian streamers were. From clips you've compiled on Snark subreddit. 990.
Assemble!
I watched the video about I don't think that
It's party time!
you
Captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going.
I haven't really hyper-focused on a bunch of
Your fate is sealed.
Namor's beasts have been returned to the sea.
Born again!
quantum breaking down the lack of they're posting on their videos, right? Because normally you would just don't
Shields up!
Empanada, the guy was banned off of Twitch for a game that violated TOS. I just been another guy. I don't want to make a lot of
Cosmic might return.
Did it!
That's all.
The clips were actually sourced from the creators who streamed them. No, they weren't. You fucking took clips that were directly
Let me
out of
guess,
context
you're
from
Namor's
fucking
friends?
Destiny subreddit.
I need healing. Don't give him any ground.
Control lost!
That a lot of people in Destiny's community do work in cryptic ways to make the song different. I think that the constant boogeymanning of Destiny and Destiny's community makes them sound kind of dismissive. It does. Like for example, like Destiny's community has also made a lot of posts. Like a lot of when I saw there were a bunch of posts.
It's party time!
It is true sometimes.
Against the world!
Destiny's community is really aggressive. They are, but at the same time, that aggression doesn't matter. The actual subject yeah, facts matter.
That's where a lot of this stuff comes from. You don't actually
Control
know
lost!
that that's what a lot of actually
Your team's capture progress has passed.
Al Mudahar,
Judge! Jury! Executioner!
sense of authority. Like, you see how this is happening, right? there are people that say that.
Ooh,
would
I
I
touched
say
it
that?
really.
No, I don't think Hassan's a slop tuber. I don't think Mudahar is either. I think this is just a pejorative term that
Poor
Hassan is
creatures.
using to
Namor should be ashamed.
and I think that it's inaccurate.
They literally, most people that make these kinds of like drama-centered videos, I didn't want to see healing
Cosmic might.
He's right about it. That's true.
Healing Pentacle.
I think this is an abstract accusation that implies a lack of credibility, but this isn't
I am ready to put on a show.
or a specific case of an inaction. It's not done out of
but yeah, it's notice how there is no statement here, okay? Notice how there is no like evidence here. The evidence is Twitch is allowing violent and unfiltered rhetoric, or you're downplaying rapes.
They are. Hassan didn't get in trouble, and again, I'm not advocating for Hassan to
Perfection
get in
is
trouble now. I
unattainable,
believe in the
but that
statute
should
of
not
limitations.
stop us from
I'll say it
trying to
again.
achieve
But
it.
at the same time, he did play terrorist propaganda. He interviewed a terrorist. These things happen. Unequivocally, these things happen. That's it. This isn't a debate, right? It's
30
fact.
seconds
Shouldn't have
before
done
you
that.
attack.
Did this person read the UN report? Does he have? Did he even?
It wasn't
don't
about
know
the
how
union.
you do
It was
it,
about
Mr.
Twitch
Graham.
doing something wrong. So the thing is that this is again an appeal to some form of
People
authority.
treat you
Well,
like a monster,
you didn't read
but
the
you just
UN
keep
report. The
fighting
video
to
is not
save
about
them.
the UN report. The video is about Twitch and their policy and how they apply their policy.
battle
And
starts in
if people
5,
on the platform are
4,
breaking that policy,
3,
it's not about
2,
the issue itself.
1.
Watch like the Sheryl Sandberg.
All you need to do
And
is
the
capture
reason,
the
by the
mission
way,
area.
this is an appeal
Got
to
it?
authority is because he's sourcing an authority that's not relevant to the topic. When your doctor tells you that you need to stop eating Cheetos because you're getting fat, you can't tell your doctor that he's making an appeal to authority because he has a relevant contextual knowledge about the topic. An appeal to authority is when you reference authority or a degree of awareness that's not relevant directly to the topic.
Pick up your toys.
Whatever Moon Knight summoned has been bent.
It's completely
Looks like the mission area is yours to capture now.
Propaganda flick, and then
Capture the mission area.
Did he read Israeli newspapers or American newspapers on the matter? And that's how he came up with this idea that like mass rapes had taken place.
Healing Pentacle.
Words stopping
Watch your healing power.
Well, there were also the women that came out and said
Literally.
It's party time! Shields up.
maybe they're all wrong. But the same thing Obadiah. And I think that optically it hasn't, and I think that optically it
Us against the world!
That's my point.
I feel better already.
Drama for using
I'll do my best to carry on, Reed.
reading a check. It's Hassan is just simply reading what somebody else has said. But I think that what that person is saying.
Born again! The cosmos
Healing Pentacle.
feeling fantastic.
only politics is basically
Your team's capture progress has passed the halfway point.
their only frame of reference for politics is just like
You are safe now.
Carry on, Reed. I won't be easy.
it's a way to say your position without saying your position.
Ooh, a touch of
Like this guy who is seemingly progressive.
Feel better already.
Frustrating.
Like I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I guess maybe they could be, but to me, I don't think they would.
It's cowardly. It's infinitely. It's infinitely better if you just don't even entertain it.
Enemy combat.
You don't bring it up. You don't get into it. You don't throw your
one less time. One less problem.
It's all ridiculous.
The reason it's not but I think that that's basically really it. Okay, so that's basically it. I think that I've pretty much established the way that I feel about it.
You've captured more than half of the mission area. Keep going.
And I think that the support of this guy, I think this categorically and according to at least like my understanding of the law.
And this is how invisible?
Also, that I think he deserves a fair trial. I think it's a really important topic, and it's something that is directly related to me. Obviously, I've got people talking about me, and like my opinions about this, people calling me a racist, a fascist, you know, a Nazi, etc. for this kind of stuff. Of course, I'm going to express my viewpoints on this. Of course, I'm going to defend myself to an extent. I hope that whatever rights he does have are followed, and I do not support any revocation of those rights. I think that even though I disagree with what he's doing, and like I disagree with him being, I don't think that, you know, that needs to be. About one thing, and so I want to make sure that and of course, like, I mean, you know, it's his right to respond to everything that I'm saying, you know, to give his perspective on it too, and disagree however much he wants, that's totally okay. But this is what my perspective is, and I think that this is a very fair perspective, and it's a genuine perspective that is shared by, I would say, the overwhelming majority of people, that we don't need to have people who are not citizens coming into our country advocating for things, or being part of groups that advocate for things. Okay, maybe you're right, but I think any reasonable person would agree with the cost. Like, I would say that, like, that's definitely, you know, like, there's a gray area, and then there's the black and white.
Born again! Them to conscience!
Jobs are not what they used to be. The average time an employee spends with their company is now at the lowest level. And that's by design.
I am ready to put on a show! Let's keep fighting until we have a winner!
It's crazy how many people do, like, Uber, and they do Uber Eats or Lyft or some sort of thing like this. It's actually crazy how much
If DoorDash, studies have shown that job losses in an attempt to motivate workers and keep costs down.
That's smart. That's a good idea. Yeah, you got to make them think that they're on the ropes.
This is usually a really dumb idea. The death of job security is bad for workers
Well, you can't
and bad
expect
for
to win them all.
companies. But nobody cares anymore.
So we have immediately seen, Andrew, layoffs.
Yep.
We've seen price increases, so that's inflation. Teachers and staff at schools.
Well, it's also like, I mean, if they're paying more money, like the, what do you call it? Like the amount of money that like jobs are paying, like minimum wage goes up, they're going to be able to get better candidates, just in general. Like the more money you pay for a job, the better candidates you're going to get. Just on average. It's not a one-to-one, but there's this fucking extremely strong correlation.
Coast to coast could soon be out of the job.
15 million new jobs in just 3 years, a record.
Mr. Musk said the company would look to reduce headcount by around 10%.
Layoffs are already piling up this year, and we're just a few weeks into 2024.
Up until the 1980s, it wasn't unusual for workers to spend their entire professional careers working with just one company. Company loyalty was highly valued by both employers and employees, and the threat of getting laid off or fired was incredibly low. If you ever watch old films and see someone getting fired as a major plot point, just remember it actually was a big deal back then.
What was this one? The car salesman movie, Alex Baldwin. Oh, not Never Give an Inch. That's something else. Glengarry Glen Ross. I remember seeing this, bro. This guy, like, Alec Baldwin, huge fucking asshole, great fucking actor. He was so good with this. Coffees for closers, that's right. So good.
But according to data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, those days are long gone. The average tenure of young employees these days is less than a third of the baby boomers exiting the workforce.
I think a lot of people also, this is encouraged by now that people are able to communicate more online. There is a very, very common assumption that, you know, whether it's true or not is irrelevant. People think this, that the best way to increase your salary is to, instead of increasing your rank at your current job, is to hop between company to company and then get your salary up that way instead.
I don't want to sound too old here, but back in my day, people actually cared about losing their job. But today, getting fired or laid off from your company just makes good content to post on TikTok. This is a bad...
I don't agree with this. I think that's not true. I think the only reason he's saying that is because he's not looking at the single moms that get fired who lose their house. Like, go out there to the side of the street and talk to all those people and think about how easy was it for them to get laid off of their job. Yeah, for sure, some 19-year-old pretty girl isn't going to have this problem because, you know, she can find a guy to live with, or she can go back and live with her parents. But for, like, an average person, getting fired from your job is absolutely fucking life-changing. It's not even a question.
Companies, because it takes away their biggest stick. The fear of getting fired is always going to be a motivator in the workplace. There really is no way around that. If you don't do your job or cause too much trouble for the company, you are going to lose your job.
Well, that's the way it should be. If you're not doing your job, you should get fired. Yeah, wow, what a fucking surprise. We're gonna act like this is bad? Yeah, no shit.
But the pay and benefits that come with it. But as the great Peter Gibbons would say, that will only make someone work just hard enough to not get fired. The death of job security means that people just expect to lose their job at some point in their career these days. But there are three big reasons why it was allowed to get this bad. And three reasons why nobody really cares anymore. The first reason is that companies give up on training their own staff. There was an old joke about company staffing that goes something like this. The CEO and head of HR are arguing about the cost to train staff. The CEO asks, what would happen if we spent all this money and they quit? To which the head of HR responds, what happens if we don't spend the money and they stay? But as more people move jobs more often, the CEO's argument is actually starting to make sense. Research conducted by Peter Capelli, the director of the Wharton School's Center for Human Resources, found that the time and money spent on staff training within companies has fallen drastically. In 1979, the average worker received 2.5 weeks on a job training every single year.
It's also, if you keep rotating employees regularly for easy jobs that don't require a lot of like intuitive thinking or critical thinking, you're able to keep salaries low. Because, you know, like a lot of the times whenever people get cut from jobs, like there's actually even laws against it. Well, like you can't just cut people because their salary has gotten too high. Well, think about why there's laws against it. Well, there's laws against it because that's what people try to do.
11 hours, and most of that was safety training, not developing new skills. A more recent follow-up survey conducted by the same team in 2011 found that only 1/5 of workers received on-the-job training at all within the last year. Companies don't want to train people because they are leaving their jobs more frequently than they used to. So they are only willing to hire employees that are already able to do the job. Standardized systems have made this a lot easier for them to do. If you are a professional office worker, it's almost a prerequisite to have a basic proficiency in Microsoft Office, especially Excel. And every profession now has its own industry standard productivity programs. If you are a creative, you use Adobe Suite. If you are in sales, you use HubSpot or comparable CRM. And if you're in marketing, you need to know your way around a box of crayons. Oh, and the advertising analytics backend of Google, Meta, and LinkedIn. Since these skills have become the standard for all employees, companies can hire people that are already ready to work on day one. Where in the past, they would need
why would you want to? Well, it's like, yeah, of course. It's like if you're in a raiding guild, would you want to gear somebody up or just recruit somebody to the guild that's geared? Oh, it's a lot easier to just recruit somebody to the guild that's geared. Like, why would you want to gear up a whole new person? Yeah, want the easier way? Yeah, exactly. It's not even a question.
Lengthy training program on the unique in-house systems of that particular company. But standardized programs have also meant that people can find a new job that they are qualified for with less barriers, which means they switch jobs more often, which means companies invest less into training unloyal staff, which creates even more need for industry.
It's also because people don't have upward mobility inside of their own jobs. I don't know if he's going to cover this at all, but this is probably, I think, one of the biggest reasons. It's because, like, Blizzard, ironically, is actually one of the companies that at least I'm aware of that doesn't have this problem, where there is a lot of upward mobility, but at least there used to be. But with a lot of companies, you're kind of like, bracketed in, where you can only go like maybe 3 positions above your current one before you'd have to join another company and then do 3 more and then go back to your original company, and then somehow now you're qualified to do the job that they said that they weren't going to hire you for fucking 5 years ago. 3 is already too much? Sure, I'm just throwing out a number. Same with salary bumps? Yeah, definitely, right? That's the reason why.
Standard systems. The ultimate incarnation of this trend is platform-based gig work.
There it is.
The professional relationship for this kind of work lasts as long as...
This is the beginning of neo-feudalism, by the way. where you have a lot of people whose job it is to only drive around other people with more money than them. This is the beginning. We're seeing it. It's right in front of us. Nobody wants to acknowledge it. It's happening, and it's going to get worse every year. It's just a taxi. It's like, dude, Uber and Lyft is, I would say, 20x or 50x more prevalent and more common than a taxi. Way, way more. And it didn't really have food delivery except for like a couple of places, like pizza places, maybe Chinese, a couple of other places had delivery. Now everything's got it.
Running. And riders often work with multiple apps at the same time to maximize earning and minimize downtime.
This is a nice
If you want to get ahead in a professional career these days, I'm sorry to tell you, but you are going to have to invest some of your own time and money into training yourself, even if it's just to take a meaningless qualification box. Companies aren't going to train you anymore, which means if you quit or get laid off, it's not as big
My
of a
perspective on this is always lie and cheat on every resume that you possibly can, because the company will do the exact same thing to you given the opportunity. Only don't do that in situations where you can be held criminally liable for not doing it, or in situations where it will be immediately disproven and it can be damaging. Other than that, lie about everything and mislead them as much as you can, because they'll do the same thing to you.
To put the timelines back
deal for either party. But the decline of on-job training is just the first. So it's time to learn how many works, to find out why job security is dying, why nobody cares, and what happens when nobody has a job for long enough to be good at it. This week's lesson is sponsored by Manscaped. Just in time for Father's Day, Manscaped introduces the must-have gifts for every dad. Meet the Handyman and the Weed Whacker 2.0. First up is the face shaver designed for dads.
As a hiring manager, I'll figure out your lies. You're right, but those places don't have good hiring managers, and that's what you got to rely on. That's why you go with a shotgun approach.
Smooth shave, tackling up to 3 days of growth effortlessly. What makes the Handyman exceptional is its skin-safe technology significantly reduces the risk of mixing cuts, and its waterproof design makes it easy to remove the faucet. Now onto the Weed Whacker 2.0. This nose and ear trimmer is perfect for dads looking to manage their tricky areas.
You don't work for companies or contractors? Yeah, true.
And a 360-degree rotary dual-blade system for efficient grooming. The Weed Whacker 2.0 is cordless, waterproof, and it comes with a high-performance battery that lasts up to 45 minutes.
This is real firepower!
Don't settle for ordinary gifts like coffee mugs this Father's Day. Opt for something from Manscaped like the Handyman or the Weed Whacker 2.0.
This is real firepower!
Yeah, they sent me some
and get 20% off plus-free international shipping. Make this Father's Day one to remember with Manscaped. The death of job security is bad news for companies, even if they were the ones that caused it. The simple fact is that when you get a new job, you aren't going to be very good at what you do until you learn your new role. Standardized systems have made it easier to transfer basic competencies between companies, but even little things like when we talk to you about authorizing your expense reports, the needs of basic science, or how the office center works, will all take you for new leave of alone. According by Gallup, a business analytics company, it takes
jury, executioner!
And so there's like a whole study done on this about how like adding more people to a software project actually makes it take longer. I forgot what the term is for it, but it's a well-known phenomenon.
Studies have suggested that new employees are not fully autonomous.
Mythical Man Month?
Months of their employment.
Is that it? I didn't hear that before.
Spending 3 years in their job on average, that means they are going to be spending a third of their career That means a loss in productivity for the companies they work for, right? Wrong. Worker productivity is actually at all-time highs, so that begs the question. Is this in spite of lower job security, or because of it? The second reason that job security is...
I think a big reason is also because jobs have been optimized, so a worker can produce more product and more output because their job has been min-maxed more by people whose job it is to min-max jobs and technology. So like there's a lot of reasons why workers are more productive that actually doesn't have anything to do with workers. It's because the people that min-max jobs are getting better at it every year. And technology. Is it bullshit take? No, I'm just completely right. It's obvious.
Down to 30 seconds.
Yeah, there's literally no art. If you're arguing against this, you're done.
This is real firepower!
Incoming!
If the player loses their job, it's only enough to motivate you.
Against the world!
Tap on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Companies have responded by moving those goalposts. A study conducted by economists at Manchester and Cardiff University looked at the motivating factor of what they call a manufactured job uncertainty.
I am ready to put on a show!
Like fears of job security was going up, even when the rates of people being fired
Let's keep fighting until we win!
I think this is the reason why people that are probably afraid of shark attacks go up during shark attacks.
By the eye of Agamotto!
It's like there's not that many people getting attacked by sharks, but whenever you're reading posts about it every day, you think, holy fuck, man, I better not take a bath. There might be a shark in me. That's the reason. It's the same reason, like, this is going to be a spicy one, okay? I'm going to get some people mad. Get ready. It's the same reason for, like, false rape accusations. People think that it happens all the time. Bro, it's like a low single-digit percentage of the ones that are actually found out to be fake. Super uncommon, extremely fucking rare. But because they're so upsetting and they're so unfair, everybody talks about them. And because everybody's talking about them, you think that they're happening all the time. But they're not. It's the same thing as streaming. Oh, I want to be a streamer so I can be rich. No, there's like 50 streamers that are like that. Nobody else is.
There's no chance to stop them!
After the rape,
There's not a reason to take a shower. Explain Sharknado.
A small tangent, but Japanese businesses they have an alternative practice called Oikashi days.
This will make different shitty jobs. You're welcome.
This usually translates to workers' purgatory.
Yeah.
According to Japan,
Judge, jury, executioner!
In the Japanese market, workers' purgatory happens when an employee chronically underperforms in their role. Instead of getting hired, they are typically placed in a room, often windowless, where they have nothing to do. In many cases, their business cards
I am ready to put on a show!
and they are forced to do any number of tasks or given nothing to do at all.
Yeah, if you're filling out the racks down here in Milton.
Solitary confinement.
Yeah.
Making them a pretty good contrast to companies in America and the UK. What the economists found was that even when job tenure wasn't companies noticed that by typing up this uncertainty and making workers compete against each other to maintain the position in a theoretical downsizing, they could get
And also, it's good to keep people fighting against each other so they don't think about fighting against you. So, like, if the workers are too busy getting mad and resenting each other, they stop thinking about the fact that you've engineered the situation to happen in the first place.
Another, highlight staff errors and downplay strong performers so that managers and their teams always felt like their job was at risk.
Yeah.
The Japanese firms, despite actually having shorter tenures for managers and operating with more business uncertainty thanks to a global economy, had a higher sense of job security, mainly thanks to a culture of protecting workers even at the expense of shareholders.
I think that it's very important to keep in mind, somebody in chat brought this up, I would bet, I don't know this, but I would bet that Japan probably has a lot stricter labor laws and you probably can't fire people as easily as you can here in the US.
Just what we need.
By the eye of Agamotto!
This is real
But you could also say that those laws are informed by the cultural reasons, so it's a bit of a chicken and egg scenario.
You're ready,
In a wonderful twist of fate, though, the study also found that this is not really working on younger employees. Starting to fall apart by layoffs means that younger managers have double expectations of job security and aren't afraid of losing their jobs as much as one company. The red Indian strategy only works to boost productivity for so long. A company should get rid of employees. If it makes everybody feel on edge about their jobs forever, then even the best employees are just going to look for better opportunities elsewhere.
I think that the bigger problem is the lack of upward mobility. I think that's the real reason. It's people that are like 28 and they've been at the same job and they feel like they're ready to be promoted, but they can't get promoted because maybe they don't have a you know, like maybe a master's degree, so they have to join another company that doesn't have that requirement, and then they come back, and then they have they basically get they are effectively applying to the same job with experience from that job that they're applying from, even though they didn't need that requirement somewhere else. That's the real reason. That's the actual. I think that's a much bigger factor with like employees over like 26 or 28. From like, you know, conversations I've had with friends and stuff like that.
Is 0-2-1.
Younger workers have also realized that changing jobs more frequently, especially early in their career, is the best way to move up the corporate ladder and secure pay increases.
Who are you calling a
I will say it in every video I can, but if you want to increase your earnings in your career, multiple studies suggest that the best way to do this is to change jobs roughly every 2 years, and always be on the lookout for better opportunities. Companies do not value staff loyalty anymore, because they can't. And that's the third reason why job security...
It's not because they can't, it's because they don't have to. The companies only valued that in the past because it was the most effective way for them to make money. The companies never actually cared about you. It's just that caring about you was a secondary outcome to them seeking the highest profits possible. Now that that's no longer possible, or it's no longer necessary, then they don't care about you anymore. They only cared about you as a byproduct of a greater goal.
30 seconds before you attack.
It costs businesses a lot of money to hire new employees, and then more money to pay them while they're getting good at their jobs. If they are hiring externally for a more senior position, they will also need to pay that new hire more than an internal promotion. So if it makes no sense, then why do companies keep doing this? Well, it's easier. An internal promotion means someone else needs to be promoted to fill that person's position. And someone else needs to be promoted to fill theirs. Now, instead of your company having one employee in a new job, it has 5.
That's a good point.
Hiring managers will do this. Or they can just hire an that already knows the systems and then get back to scrolling Reddit in their office.
Right.
Workers
Most importantly,
believe in job security either. Things like employee pension plans, data development, are all the responsibility of the workers. And if they are accepting that responsibility, they also want the freedom that comes with it. Some companies like consulting, legal, and accounting firms have built their entire workforce around limited employees. Overworked, underpaid graduates will stick it out in entry-level roles because they know it looks good on the resume when they apply for a real job in 2 years.
Which is true, though. The fact is that, like, being and having one of those jobs is absolutely true, that it helps you a lot. It is, and that's the problem. Is that, like, it shouldn't be true, but it is. That's why people take unpaid internships. Absolutely.
Companies can't attract workers by bragging about possibility. Even companies that were considered American institutions have fallen apart too many times for people to think that their job is good. And job security is the selling point with taking a job for.
I don't think that people are viewing job security as an outcome of the companies falling apart or going bankrupt. Like, unless you're Enron, the Lehman Brothers, or, you know, a handful of other places, like a game studio, for example, it's probably not going to happen.
This is real fire!
That's not the real reason.
So, congratulations, America. There's so much more.
Judge, jury, executioner!
I am ready to put on a show.
Literally free email daily if you want to get articles like
By the eye of Agamotto!
The reason that job security is dead is this man right here. Go and watch my new video to find out how an unremarkable chemical engineer worked his way up to personally reshape corporate America into what it is today, all while destroying his company in the process.
What a good guy. What a nice dude. How about that? Well, I figured I'd watch this since I haven't talked about this stuff in a while. But I think it's actually a pretty big problem. I think it's happening, obviously, like with gaming. It's a huge thing. What's this here? Whenever I ask for a raise, my boss makes veiled threats saying if you can't keep up with your workload, we'll bring on other people. Well, what you should do, again, like, my perspective is that this is the way I am in a guild or anything like that. I'm always only in it for myself, and the only times that I help other people or go beyond the scope of what I need to do are in cases where it will be eventually advantageous to myself. I am always advocating for myself directly and myself primarily. If I help other people in the process, then that's usually a good thing, and I will try to do that. But I always put myself first, I put my interests first, and I do what's best for me in all circumstances, even if it's at the detriment of the organization. If it's at the detriment of the company, that's too bad. Oh, that's too bad. Because, again,
This is real firepower! patch you
That's
up.
what this is now I have to give a shit, right? Much more stressful. Like it was much less stressful whenever I didn't have to give a shit. You know, but whenever now that I'm in a leadership position, now I do have to give a shit. Now I do have to worry about all these little things, and it's like,
Down to 30 seconds.
oh god, there's a lot going on, right? But like that whenever it was just me looking out for me, it was way easier. Absolutely
Vehicle
was.
reached a checkpoint.
So yeah.
Keep up the momentum.
On paper, the job market now is selling. Employment at a 54-year low at 3.4% back in
Leave them to my shoe.
And U.S. employers added 2.7 million people to the payroll in 2023 alone.
Judge, jury, executioner.
Ready for action.
Welcome to Rocket Chase. This is a nice spot.
Headlines about layoffs, recession, but when you look at the soft data, Americans tend to be a little bit less optimistic about how the economy is doing, and in particular about the job market.
I think a lot of people are underemployed. That's the reason. Like you have people that have jobs, but they're not happy with the job they have.
Hurricane incoming!
Final score, 2-1.
Then how come no one can find a job?
Recently, unemployed full-time workers applied to an average of 30 jobs.
Wow.
Another epic victory! Win!
If you look at the job vacancies, they're down a little bit, but not down enormously. But if you ask, you know, how hard are you working to fill them? The answer seems to be not very right now.
So why does it feel so hard to get a job right now?
Well, maybe because the companies are expecting there will be like a technology improvement. And so like why bring somebody on if technology is moving so fast? Why not just wait 6 months until you can just hire a robot, buy a robot that does it?
Is the U.S. labor market as strong as it seems?
Hi, my name's Jenna Jackson. I'm from Ardmore, Pennsylvania, in the suburbs of Philadelphia. This job market is like the craziest that I have ever seen. I was frustrated just with how my job search process has been going. I haven't quantified how many applications I've applied to. It would be a little depressing, I feel, at this point to quantify it. But it was definitely a tough one to face.
55% of unemployed adults said they were burnt out from searching for a new job. Younger generations were impacted the most, with 66%
Oh, I see why. Okay, so here's a component that I don't know if they're going to cover in this video. So there's a lot of different types of unemployment. There's like frictional unemployment, and then there's also people who are no longer looking for a job unemployment. And then there's people that have been fired unemployment. So people that are no longer looking for a job are in a lot of cases actually not counted in the unemployment category. So if 55% of people are saying this, and seasonal, yeah, seasonal jobs too. So I don't know if they're going to cover this or not, but you can look at 33%, but if you're not covering those other people, then that's not going to be it. Stupid, but indeed the truth? No, it